Geeklife. Show me your moves.
And greetings, droids, drones, and clones, and welcome to another exciting episode of Geek Life, your source for all the nerdy news you need to know. If you're new to the show, we are a 2-hour mashup of all the pop culture news you know and love. We talk about video games, movies, TVs, comics, and all things nerdy. All the nerdy things you love, dripped across your face like Rudy Giuliani's sweaty hair dye. I am your host, The Dodd, the streamer this podcast needs, but not the one it deserves. And joining me today is from literally a cabin in the woods, or more like a desert, but I digress. Bronwyn, the warrior princess, joins the fray. How are you doing today, Bronwyn?
I'm doing really well. Been talking to the cactus all day and roaming about in the rocks, so it's been good. Been good over here.
It's a very interesting day plan, but still, very on brand. So it makes sense. And barrel rolling alongside us today is the best R-Wing pilot in the galaxy. Comrade Kev is here to assist in indoctrinating the youth. How are you doing today, Comrade?
I'm doing fine, Comrade. Looks like morale and hopes are up for the motherland of gaming. As it seems more consoles are rolling out. We'll get more into that later on. So
yeah, for sure. What have you guys been getting into? What's kind of the latest? For me personally, I've been getting my ass kicked in the UGA Draft League. Shout out to the UGA Draft League, even though I'm getting my ass kicked in it. So I went to retreat to some Spider-Man Miles Morales, and holy shit, that is probably the best game I have played all year. Just swinging through the city again was one very nostalgic, just from 2018 playing the game.
Yeah.
But just Miles moves so differently in the game, and it really feels like you're playing as a different character with the same kind of mechanics.
Yeah.
It's just, man, I'm glad that this is out right now, because I think I'm going to be spending a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
What about you, Brahman?
I have actually been playing a lot of Breath of the Wild. I just started replaying it recently. I haven't touched the game since it came out, and I think it was 2017, so it's been really fun to get back into that, and hopefully we'll be streaming it a bit soon after I move, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that too. Do you think you're going to get into Hyrule Warriors at all?
I think so, yeah. I've just been hearing a lot of good things about what all is in there, and I'd love to be able to hop on a game with you, Dodd, if you wanted to start playing online. That'd be fun. Yeah,
it would be cool to check out some of the characters in there, it's always fun to play as Link, of course, but getting a chance to play as, some of the Divine Beast pilots would be really cool. Especially, I can't remember what his name is, but my favorite one was the bird guy, Ryulu, something like that. Okay. It's basically Zelda Falco, right? Let's be honest. I would love to play as him a little bit more. And then Urbosa, the lightning queen from the sand area, she would be a really cool character to see kind of fleshed out a little bit more. So that might be an interesting one to try out. What about you, Kev?
So I've been playing. I've actually got back onto Apex. So that's been pretty fun. Been playing some Among Us, getting pretty sussy, and then been actually just binged through Queen's Gambit. The one of the oldest games. It's fantastic, phenomenal. Yeah, apparently there's been a shortage of chess sets because of it. So
I actually started playing a lot of chess before the game. That's been one of my main summer activities, just playing chess with friends. And so watching it and seeing how they strategize, I'm like, okay, taking notes.
Is the game just chess?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is?
She's like a the main character, Beth Harmon, is a chess prodigy, and basically just navigates the world of misogyny and being an orphan, and then having to deal with that baggage and everything that comes with that, and then continuing along her chess narrative.
Yeah.
Yes. But the way it's shot,
game.
the shots, the atmosphere, everything, like the writing, everything is like the acting, fantastic. Great show.
Huh.
Well, most intense thing you could watch on chess, in my opinion. Like sometimes you don't even see the move pieces. It's just the facial expressions, the atmosphere.
If you're talking about a show, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about a game. That makes a lot more sense. No, I thought you were literally just playing chess with like a narrative in between. I was like, that's one way to do it. But indie games are a new thing. Yeah. As a show, okay. I guess this could be a bit more interesting. That's I could see how that could work as like a plot device. But before we get started, a quick reminder to everybody: if you like what you see or hear on the show tonight, feel free to follow us here at Geek Life Live or on any of our social medias. We're on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, what else? Instagram, and we're going to be up. We're going to have all our episodes up on Spotify, hopefully by Wednesday of this next week, right before Thanksgiving. So check us out there as well. You can also follow any of us on our personal socials. For me, that's going to be at Roose Bane on Twitch and Twitter, WRUSE_BANE. Kev, where can they find you?
Yeah, Kevin Todd Jr. on all socials, and then Toddly Awesome on Twitch.
And Braun, where can they find you?
You can find me at Space Nymph on Instagram and on Twitch.
Yep. Awesome. All right, so we've got a great show planned for you guys today. Kev, hit us with that rundown.
Thanks, Dodd. This show just tested positive for being packed with awesomeness. We'll get right into the headlines from the world of TV. Snyder cut us a break and dropped a new trailer. The child is now lost in space, and Freakazoid is a go for Teen Titans anyway. Then butter that popcorn until it's more butter than popcorn. We've got movie news. Wonder Woman might be home for Christmas. This year's Mortal Kombat is postponed. Sorry, Shang Tsung. Won't be stealing my soul. And we'll see a return to Wakanda soon. Deadpool might even join the party. Next, we'll try to not stare into the void as a $70 games become a thing. We got some video game news. There's a new map on Among Us. Awards were given to the 2020's greatest heroes. And Cyberpunk prepares you for the DMCA apocalypse at launch. Plus, in other news, we'll talk about Twitch going to pay to play. As always, we'll dive deep into this week's deep dive on entertainment and COVID, and we'll wrap things up with a top zen that'll have you saying, damn, girls got it. Girls do get it done. Let's get right into the headlines from the world of TV. So there's a new Snyder Cut trailer. New trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League has officially been released online, and the trailer's release commemorates the anniversary of the original movie released into theaters. New looks at Steppenwolf, kind of like a death metal Thanos, and Deathstroke that gave him a mohawk. It was originally thought that Snyder's version of Justice League would just require a few reshoots and a lot of post-production. However, it seems like the director is getting quite a lot of work in, and even adding additional scenes that weren't part of the original version. For example, Jared Leto's Joker is going to be included in the version of Justice League, though he wasn't included in the initial version. There will also be a lot more teases regarding Darkseid and Zack Snyder's Justice League, an ominous villain that was intended to be antagonist of the sequel. Are you guys ready to see what is probably going to feel like the fastest reboot of a movie franchise ever?
Point? I'm excited to see the original cut for sure. See the original vision. I'm also excited to get it in kind of this like episodic way that we're gonna get it, like 4 1-hour chunks. Over the course of a week. It's kind of like we're getting a TV series. I mean, that's pretty much a mini series in my opinion. Versus a movie. And so, as far as the content goes, I'm pretty excited about that. Now, as far as Death Metal Thanos goes, like I do feel really bad for the people that had to animate it. Like they're just sitting there like, oh my God, I just want to go home. And Zack Snyder's like, no, 50 more spikes, I don't know, how that works out, but I'm totally down for the Slade Wilson mohawk. I think that looks badass. I think that's definitely an interesting way to kind of make his character look original. And I think he's going to be a major thirst trap after the movie for sure.
It always is.
Always is. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Brom, what do you feel about the Snyder Cut?
I'm really excited, and I agree how you're saying it coming out like the 4-part series is so much better because I feel like so much gets lost in these films because a lot has to obviously get cut out, and giving it the space and the room to say what Zack Snyder wants to say is going to be great. Plus, it gives us time to anticipate and like really binge the content, which I like doing. So it's going to be good. This is how it was supposed to be, and we're finally getting it.
Yeah. I mean, it was supposed to be, I guess, a 4-hour phenomenon that you're supposed to sit through in the theater. I mean, like, I guess you would need an intermission if you're supposed to, if you're going to have a movie that long, right? Am I right? Then that's a 5-hour experience, and that's just a whole day going. Like, that's your plan for the day. What are we doing? We're doing Justice League that day, you know?
Right. And not only that, I feel like they kind of rushed this sort of franchise anyway with what they did with Batman vs. Superman, and now we're here at the Justice League, and no one really had their own individual movies leading up to it. So, like, they tried to catch up with Marvel without doing all the legwork first. So this kind of makes sense. It
does. I think that they were really trying to build a different method, and had they gone Zack Snyder's direction, who knows? It could have been a lot more successful. We'll find out come January. But until then, you know, it seems that it's kind of been a major flop. And, you know, they've really had, DC's had much of its success by just letting its directors do whatever it wants and just, the multiverse, you know, and kind of going with that method. And I think, you know, that could work for them. I mean, that could be a good way. All you got to do is have one flashpoint, and then you keep the good, you take the bad.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
Whole perfect universe setup.
Yep.
But that's not the only thing that's going on in the world of TV. The Mandalorian has been sweeping headlines, mostly because it's just been a banger show so far. But it's also had some obnoxious cast members who just made an appearance in the last episode for sure. Which is kind of like, I was right. It did leave a bad taste in my mouth when I was watching the episode, but I still enjoyed the episode regardless of that. But there's a Baby Yoda that's being launched into space in real time. In the SpaceX shuttle launch. Bronwyn, you have more on this story. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with this.
Yeah, so Baby Yoda was spotted in space on a SpaceX shuttle launch. As SpaceX launched its mission to the International Space Station, an unexpected passenger accompanied the crew members. This mission is the latest collaboration between NASA and SpaceX. Their team of astronauts will be performing routine maintenance on the space station and also performing a variety of experiments. But besides looking adorable, this plush was seen floating around the space station as they launched up into the atmosphere, had an important job on their journey. Baby Yoda, along with other toys and stuffed animals throughout numerous launches, are used to indicate the point at which they have reached zero gravity and are experiencing weightlessness. While the astronauts are buckled in, their super high-tech zero-G indicators let them know what's going on. A fitting tribute as new episodes of The Mandalorian continue to air. Dodson, what are you thinking about the current season? I know you touched a little bit on something, which is news I'm unfamiliar with, so maybe you could start in that.
So for those of you who were here with us last week, the Mandalorian star Gina Carano, who plays Cara Dune in the series, recently came out with some controversial statements about the election, and it seems that she made a Parler account later on in the week, and really just kind of not just showed a Republican side, but showed like the culty Trump side. And again, sure enough, next week, Cara Dune's in Mandalorian, and it was like kind of interesting because it's like, yeah, this is like, I hate this actress now, but you know, the character is somebody who's an ally in the show and someone who's helpful and all that kind of stuff. And so like, I don't want to root for her to lose, but I kind of, you know, like it's, I feel that this knowledge of the actress behind the scenes has kind of like changed the taste of the show, at least in regards to that character, to me. But yeah, that's what I was mostly regarding. But as far as the season goes, the season's been great. Other than the various kind of like it always feels like a side quest that they're on. Like The Mandalorian should be a game, and they're always going on these side quests kind of thing. The problem for me is that I really like that. Like, that's how I play games. Like, if I get a chance to play a game and I know the story, if I'm coming close in the story, I'm like, okay, well, I got to finish all the side quests first and make sure I get all of the game before I finish the story, because that's how I like to enjoy it. Same thing with The Mandalorian. I'd rather have those side quests done first and then do the main story. Because I know that, you know, this season is really just trying to get the child to its home world. And if we get it there quickly, then, you know, where's the fun in that?
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm like, I mean, I'm here for everything Baby Yoda. Like, Gina Carano's not relevant to me. Like, I don't even think I care. I haven't seen an episode, but even just based off the last season, I was surprised to even see her back. So
yeah,
I think it's just, again, it's not. I don't think it ruins the taste, and for me, because she doesn't really have, like, her implications in the show aren't that, like, they don't carry that much weight. So if she's gone, she's gone. I'm fine with it.
That's fair, and I'm hoping that, like, she stays off is the thing. Like, that's what I was hoping, is that, like, okay, like, the directors, the people of the show, like, okay, this is not a staple character. This is not a character we need on the show. Let's kind of part ways with her. And but then she was on the next episode. But I know that was already filmed, and that was like before all this stuff and all that kind of stuff. But it's just the timing of it, and when we found out as the audience, like, it's in that chronology for us.
Right.
And so I do feel like that has put something onto the show. Yeah. You know, has it strayed me away from the show? Absolutely not. That show is a banger, dude. That's one of the best things that's been coming out in 2020.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. But there's even more Stranger Things happening in 2020, especially in the world of TV. We've seen the Animaniacs come back from the grave, but we've now are checking out Freakazoid to return on Teen Titans as a guest star. Tell us a little bit about this, Kev.
Yes, Dad. Freakazoid will finally return to television screens, though not in the way that fans might expect or hope for. According to Paul Rugg, who voiced the titular hero, Freakazoid will guest star on Teen Titans Go. Yes, Freakazoid is making a mini comeback, Rugg wrote on Twitter. Freakazoid's animated cousins, Animaniacs and Tiny Toon Adventures, have also received revivals of their own. Animaniacs will debut November 20th on Hulu, while Tiny Toon Adventures will premiere on HBO Max. Dad, where the hell has Freakazoid been?
Probably where he belongs. I mean, it's not a property that I think that everyone was, like, crazy going after, but that's just me. I mean, like, I would rather see Danny Phantom be brought back than I would see Freakazoid.
Oh, yeah.
Facts. I guess that's just my era, and that's where I grew up in. Maybe it's past my time. But definitely seeing him on Teen Titans Go. Like, seeing him on the Teen Titans, I'm like, that's a terrible fit. But Teen Titans Go, it like fits, but it's unfortunate because I hate Teen Titans Go. The original Teen Titans is great, and I think this cartoonish direction they went with it is awful, but they're trying to do it to entertain kids. So whatever the case may be, but Freakazoid to me does fit in that weird, zany, Cartoon Network, Teen Titans Go idea. So I think it'll be an interesting one that I probably will never tune into. But that's just me. What do you think about it, Braun?
Oh, I was just noticing in the chat, Jake is team Freakazoid. Danny Phantom. He says he's been breaking the fourth wall before Deadpool. Well, I'm not super familiar, but it looks like there's this resurgence of, like, 90s culture. I know Pinky and the Brain's coming back too, so everyone's craving that 90s nostalgia.
Yeah. The 90s nostalgia is real. I mean, once you get all the 80s nostalgia out, what do you do next? You got to go to the 90s nostalgia. That's what they try to do with, like, you know, after Guardians of the Galaxy came Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel tried to hit on that 90s nostalgia. Now, I don't know if it worked as well. I felt like it worked as well, but I'm a sucker for 90s nostalgia. Yeah. Because I'm a 90s baby, but that's me.
I just want that, like, 70s nostalgia.
That's true.
Well, moving right along into the world of movies, Wonder Woman has given us a Christmas present. Wonder Woman is going to be released on Christmas Day on HBO Max and in theaters. Wonder Woman will release on Christmas Day and on HBO Max in in theaters, and Patty Jenkins isn't very happy about it. When asked about the release, she said, "I don't think anybody can be confident of anything right now." She has remained level-headed despite, many frustrating situations that are going on with this movie. I mean, obviously the movie was set to be released, I think, in July originally, but it was in the middle of the COVID pandemic, and there was no way they could do it. I mean, Patty Jenkins has done a lot with Wonder Woman and proving that, you can have. How do you have success with a female-led superhero movie? You have a woman directing it, and she's been able to kind of really work off that point from the success of Wonder Woman 1. And it really, really sucks that Wonder Woman 84 has been crippled in the way that it has. But the movie has been done filming for a while. Is completely yet to be seen. They said they've shown it to some agents. And she said, quote, "That was what we did. We just showed our agents. That was thrilling to finally get to talk to people who didn't know what the movie was," said Jenkins, who's gone from directing massive films to making Doritos ads amid the pandemic. But she continues, "But it's super weird to go from making a movie in such detail and being so excited for the experience to go for being so excited for the experience of people getting to share in that with you, and then going on and cleaning your house and cooking, and just kind of going on with life in quarantine." So it's definitely kind of a little bit of a sad story, but it's also kind of cool that we're going to get to see Wonder Woman finally. We made the joke a long time ago with our Wonder Woman 84 Ernest trailer. If you haven't checked that out, it's on YouTube. But we wanted this to come out on some kind of streaming service so that we could all observe it. But my question to you, Bronwyn, do you think this movie is going to make any money with it being released on HBO Max simultaneously?
I am really doubtful, especially because there's been a huge surge in cases, and around the holidays, a lot of people want to be with their families. So I don't foresee a huge number of people going to theaters to see this. Also, H's audience is so big anyways that they're going to be taking a lot of the majority, and someone might be super passionate about it, be like, okay, let's try HBO for like a month for a trial, or like
that might be the time to kind of jump on the bandwagon if
or like get that password.
Right.
Yeah. Right. My question is that why I just feel like these Hollywood is trying to have their cake and eat it too, where it's like they don't want to adjust. I mean, you saw how you saw the comments about Netflix not deserving Oscars or Golden Globes, right? They're just completely against changing with the new way of things. They want to hold on to this sort of archaic, impractical means of delivering entertainment properties, and that's not going to work anymore. And I mean, I can't even imagine the logistical frustrations behind it, but there has to be like a way where and we'll get into it more, but Regal, AMC, why can't there be a streaming service that just has direct from production or post-production to blockbuster release just on these whatever X streaming services exclusively,
It's a tough situation to be in for sure. And I'm as a viewer, I'm excited because I'm gonna get to watch Wonder Woman some way, somehow. I'm gonna be able to see it probably from my own house, which is really, really great. But as someone who wants to see this movie succeed, and I really genuinely do, it does kind of I don't see a way that you make this successful. You're not going to make any money off of people getting their HBO Max subscriptions.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised too, because they could have gone the route of using a different service where you pay to specifically watch that one film, not just on Amazon or something like that. Buy it before or while it's in theaters.
Right.
But maybe HBO gave them a huge chunk of money. Maybe that is how they're making their money.
That would make sense. And HBO Max has become the home for a lot of DC content, so they've shown them that it's worth the financial investment for sure. Yeah. So that's something to be said for sure. But I'm sure, again, Patty Jenkins wants to be able to say, my movie did this well at the box office, and I did X amount,
Yeah.
So, I think that there's still a lot of disadvantages to what's happening here. on that side. But as a viewer, I'm super excited because I'm going to get to see Wonder Woman, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to have to go to a movie theater to check it out. So that's going to be pretty fun. Speaking of things that you're probably not going to get to see in a movie theater, at least anytime soon, Mortal Kombat reboot has been delayed indefinitely. And of course, this is the new movie we're talking about. Kev, you got a little more information on the Mortal Kombat reboot. Tell us what's going on with that.
Yeah, Dad, it looks like it's going to be some time before the new Mortal Kombat movie is in cinemas. The news has come via producer Todd Garner, who replied to a fan asking about the movie's release date on Twitter, as spotted by Games Radar, saying that there was no word on a release date for either a trailer or the finished product. We'd always planned for it and thought we'd do it in March, Garner wrote. The pandemic had other plans. We won't have a release date for the movie until theaters reopen, same for the trailer. Word that the Mortal Kombat movie reboot was actually happening broke in May 2019, with the film airing for a March 5th, 2021 release date. The production was set to have an R rating, meaning that it would likely be every bit as glory as the games on which it is based. Dodd, are you finished with these movie delays?
I guess you could say that. This one is one that I'm really not that bummed about, though. Like, there hasn't been a good Mortal Kombat movie, and
ever.
You know, I wasn't too enticed by the last game that came out, and so I feel like Mortal Kombat is a little bit on the downswing right now. But I know that there's plenty of fans that disagree with me on that. So I think that that's totally fair to be debated. But this one doesn't surprise me at all, especially if they're trying to begin filming in March. It doesn't surprise me that they wouldn't risk something like this. It's pretty standard, even though not everybody does. I mean, there's been some people that powered through it and just tested their way through it, or just got sick and did it. But I'm glad, despite Mortal Kombat being a game based off of killing other people in the most brutal way possible, that they took the necessary safety precautions.
Right.
Yeah, to make sure they didn't finish anybody.
Right.
Yeah. THIS. Moving right along. Speaking of moving right along, Disney's moving forward with Deadpool 3 and Black Panther 2. Yes, as soon as you hear about that good news about that Moderna vaccine, that Pfizer vaccine, okay, Disney's like, we got our plans now. All right, Deadpool 3 and Black Panther 2. Here we go. So just for the details, Deadpool 3 is getting new writers, and it will still remain rated R. There will be new writers this time around, however. According to Deadline, Reynolds and Disney have tapped sisters Wendy Molyneux and Lizzie Molyneux Logan to write Deadpool 3. Well, they may not be household names yet. The Molyneux sisters are writers on the rise and have worked on Bob's Burgers for several years. So Bob's Burgers is a pretty funny show. They still got Ryan Reynolds in the mix. He's still writing. He's still at the helm. I'm pretty trustworthy of this content. What's also interesting is Black Panther 2 is set to start filming in July. Black Panther 2 is reportedly set to begin shooting in Atlanta in July 2021 after temporarily being sidelined after the tragic and unexpected death of actor Chadwick Boseman. Black Panther 2 is reportedly set to begin shooting with Narcos star Tenoch Huerta, who is said to be joining as the antagonist. He will star alongside cast members from the first Black Panther, including Leah Wright, Winston Duke, and Lupita Nyong'o and Angela Bassett. I hope that I said all this right. And there are no updates to offer about the recasting of the role of T'Challa. The Marvel Studios executive producer Victoria Alonso has already confirmed that there are no plans to digitally recreate or otherwise manufacture a VFX version of Chadwick Boseman to use in the film. Saying, quote, "There is only one Chadwick and he is no longer with us," Alonso said. As far as Deadpool goes, are we confident, Bronwyn, that Disney won't fuck up Deadpool? And after that question, to Kev over here.
Yeah.
How do we feel about the possibility of Shuri stepping in for T'Challa, which was rumored to happen because she's said to have a much more prominent role in the film. And we do know that's what happens in the comics. So let's start with you, Brahman. Do you think that Disney's going to fuck up Deadpool?
I think there's a possibility. Very percentage-wise, maybe I'm like leaning a little bit more towards they're gonna fuck it up. I'm not quite sure they're going to, but a little bit leaning more towards that they are.
They still have Ryan Reynolds, and they do have the writers from Bob's Burgers.
Okay.
So I still have a good amount of confidence in it, but Disney did what they did to Star Wars, so
yeah,
there's that.
So the fact that it's rated R gives me a little bit more confidence that it should be okay. Because that was the big thing, right? When they took it over and they had like the PG-13 version, everyone was like, "What are you doing?"
It still needs to be rated R. We need to make sure that it's always rated R.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Kev, how do you feel about Shuri stepping in for T'Challa and Black Panther?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea too. I think that I don't know Chadwick personally, but just from everything I've read about him and heard about him, I think this is something that he would actually sort of encourage and want. He wouldn't want the sort of franchise to die. He would want it to continue and live on, and then someone else to take the helm as the next Black Panther, much like the actual Black Panther.
Yeah.
So I think this is a smart move. You start of you continue to put just quick social commentary. You continue to put Black women in sort of the spotlight, and let people know how much talent there is out there. And yeah, I think I'm okay with this now. Of course, when the news broke, you're like, oh no, we can't have this movie, right? But now I think it's time to move on. And then this. And they're also going to, they're going to do so many things. They're going to pay homage to Chadwick and everything. So I think this is a great move.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great to see, and I think that that's the perfect way to kind of pass the torch, is have Shuri stepping in. So I think it's a good way to get it done. Moving right along, you can now experience the New Mutants at home. Brahman, you've been covering all the New Mutant stories up until this point. Tell us a little about what's going on with the New Mutants.
Yes. Well, for those of you not willing to risk your lives to experience a pretty mediocre film, you can now watch the next installment of the X-Men series from the comfort of your homes. As titles flock to video on demand, the New Mutants finds itself on Apple TV and Amazon for a rental fee of $5.99. This movie was a long time coming, but it didn't quite make the box office splash they were hoping for. With the reviews I heard, I don't think this film can hide behind COVID as its downfall. But with people at home craving any sort of new content, maybe turning to video on demand will help salvage this film and just give you something to pass your time and enjoy. Kevin, will you give this film a chance now that you can watch it at home?
If I'm really bored and in the mood to watch something and maybe get high and watch something, this is probably what I'll watch. But this, from everything, like the concept is cool. It's like a horror thriller X-Men show, but then from all the reviews and everything I've heard about it, just doesn't seem like it's worth my time. But who knows? Who knows? I've watched, sometimes I have just, I'm going to watch terrible movie night. So yeah.
This is the first time that I've seen Arya Stark in anything outside of Game of Thrones. And I'm really disappointed to see it not do as well as it has. But I think that I will probably wait until this is even cheaper than $5 to watch. But it's at least it's content that we can consume while we're trapped in quarantine. So we need as much of that as we possibly can get, right?
That's just after hearing the comic book creator just rip this film apart, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
They even spelled his name wrong in the credits. Like,
oof. How do you do that? How do you spell the comic creator's name wrong in the credits of your own movie?
Oh, man, God,
it's awful. Well, moving right along into video game news, Among Us has new maps. Among Us. Tell us a little bit about that, Kev.
Yeah, so something a little sus happened. Okay, well, not really, but the developers of Among Us the tease that the company showed only displays one room of the map, which seems like a bright cockpit area, unlike the other Among Us maps. This one seems pretty clean and put together, free of any wreckage, though we can't see the rest of the ship, where I'm sure there's much more to do. At a glance, we can see a vent in the middle of imposters to use, as well as a Wi-Fi box to do downloads and a wiring box to activate some stuff. The other screens in the area will very likely have things to do as well. Among Us was originally set to have a sequel, but the idea was scrapped due to the popularity of the game. Instead, Innersloth has rerouted its resources to continue to update the original game with more features. Do you guys think this is a good sign that the devs behind this game are attempting to make this more than just another fad game?
I don't know. I think that they're slowly kind of I keep saying this, that Among Us is getting less popular, but I keep looking on Twitch and it's still well overtaken Fall Guys, and it's still one of the most streamed things out there. So there are still a lot of people playing it. Right. How they keep people hooked in to what seems to me like a kind of gimmicky game will be very interesting. Yeah. But hey, this airship map does look kind of interesting. You from the picture you can see, that one, you've got a little more diversity in your uniform. You got like something you can wear around you as well as on top of your head, so you can make more odd looking characters. And you definitely got more room to run around. That's really all you get from the picture, and that's like kind of all we've gotten from it. So we'll see how it goes. I haven't picked up Among Us in a while, so I don't know. Yeah. Fattest Sax streamed it last night though. So
he did. And I was there.
We should get with Fattest Sax and do some Among Us games. That would be fun. Right. Yeah, we keep talking about it. We just need to get it done.
Yeah. For sure. It's still fun. We played it last night and we had a great time. Like it's one of these games, and I think that's why, right? It's like a party game, and it's not. I don't think it's going anywhere because the hype hasn't quite died down yet. So they're in this sweet window where they can come up with some nice creative content without sort of jumping the shark. And I think some of that is just keeping it simple to a way where it's like skins, new map, and then you could even go to like if we want, we'll add a new game mode instead of people having to like do it in a makeshift way. We'll actually implement it into the game. So I think they have some potential there for that.
Yeah. Nelly was saying that they should add some seasonal decor. Would keep her.
Yeah. Some Christmas tree in there.
Right.
Well, speaking of seasonal decor, 'tis the season for video game awards. That's right. The 2020 Video Game Awards have announced their nominees, and there was a little bit of surprises in there. First off, just hold on one second. Excuse me. All right. So, Game of the Year prospects: Animal Crossing, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Yes, Final Fantasy VII remake got put up for Game of the Year. Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. What the hell is Hades? Hades is a roguelike action role-playing game developed and published by Supergiant Games. The game was released for Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, and Nintendo Switch on September 17th of this year. It has been nominated for multiple awards, and it's most likely to win Best Narrative. Many players have been drawn to it since its beta for its really cool storytelling elements and its replayability. And it's also shocking to see that indie games kind of like, as far as the nominees go, this was the year of the indie games. A lot of them are competing with big high-level titles like Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us. Other notables were Fall Guys, Animal Crossing, and Among Us, all getting several different nominations. Among Us getting nominated for Best Mobile Game, Animal Crossing for a number of different games, Fall Guys for Best Indie Game as well. One of the ones that was on there for Best Action Game was Spider-Man Miles Morales, which would be honestly, just from the 2 hours that I played of it, maybe my game of the year, but that's just me. But this seems to be a really big year for indie games. Is this just a pandemic fluke, Bronwyn, or are indie game developers really stepping it up a notch?
Oh, I think they're stepping it up. And I also think that people are getting more interested in unique sort of perspectives and different gameplay than what they're used to, because so many of these big game developers will kind of have the bones of what any of their games are and use similar gameplay and just build off of that. But I think that with these indie games, you really get something unexpected. And I think people are craving that. They want to experience the unexpected. And also, I love to just see the support of these smaller game developers getting recognized, and I'm riding the wave.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, Kev? Is this a pandemic fluke, or are indie game developers really taking it up a notch?
No, I think they're right. I think they're right there. I think a lot of them, with the sort of plethora of the development kits that are available to the masses, I think you're going to start seeing a lot more sort of indie games / big indie studios making some pretty noteworthy titles. So no, and again too, I think with all the platforms to sort of market yourself with Twitch and TikTok and shit, I think this is just going to continue to grow.
Yeah. I know that you guys might not think there's nothing to the pandemic fluke stuff, but I do think that the pandemic has given us a little bit more time to go out and try games like Hades, to try games like Fall Guys, and try games like Among Us. And so I think that there is a little bit of that we can attribute to the pandemic giving us a better eye to those things. But also, I mean, Hades can't be nominated for as many awards as it was if it wasn't really doing something that really separates it from the crowd. And I think that that's really cool to see, Supergiant stand up against literal supergiants.
That's true.
So just an interesting thing to note there.
Right.
But also in the world of video games, Cyberpunk 2077 will have a streamer mode. Tell us a little bit about what streamer mode does, Bronwyn.
Yeah, the streamer mode in Cyberpunk 2077 is a feature that will allow you to disable copyrighted music. So many streamers run into the issue of having content taken down due to music licensing. So anticipating this, game developer CD Projekt Red is giving their players an easy solution to this problem by allowing them to disable certain songs. This feature will automatically go into effect once you start streaming, or if you want, you can also toggle it on and off in the options menu. With this feature activated, songs will be replaced with royalty-free music. Now, this game is going to be packed with so much good music, 150 tracks from artists, including Run the Jewels, Grimes, Nina Kravis. You can look forward to all of this and on the finally confirmed release date of December 10th. This game has been much anticipated. What do you guys think? Good move on them for having this feature. I've never heard of any other game doing this.
One of the things that I think of that is really, like, to me, this was kind of like, well, why don't you just put non-copyrighted music in there in the first place? And just fuck with that, But the fact that they are, featuring all of these, prominent artists because they want to be something that's very trendy and something that feels very futuristic, and they have all of these influences. I mean, Cyberpunk has been something that they've been working on for a long time, and they kicked it off with, Keanu fucking Reeves. So like they've been trying to be like really immersed in culture and being able to have that where it feels very realistic. You hear a Grimes song, you see Keanu Reeves, you see these characters that
right.
But being able to flip that off to where you can actually still stream it, it's gonna be really important. I think that's actually very, very clutch feature coming on and makes up for a little bit of the delay that has happened with Cyberpunk.
I think it's great on CD Projekt Red's part, for doing this, but I'm a little saddened that this is even necessary, right? Like, you're getting copyright claims on a game that you didn't, for music that you didn't even put in the game. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. Like these, like that.
I'm glad they corrected the problem before it became a problem, because that would be an issue. It makes me a little bit concerned about Miles Morales on streaming that, if that's going to be a problem there. But but I feel so far that all the music has been either like original stuff that they've played on there. So I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how the system works with that. Anyways, last but not least, a little bit of other news here. Twitch rolls out a new pay to affiliate status.
Yeah.
Kev, Kev, why don't you go into detail about this one?
Yeah, so Big Daddy capitalism strikes again, Dad. Same week that YouTube adjusts terms of service to monetize all content for themselves, even if you're not a YouTube partner. The latter proportion of Twitch's 2020 has been categorized by two seismic shifts: a big push to make money off ads and deals, and creator unfriendly capitalization to the music industry. The company's latest announcement, a deal with music label Monster Cat that allows streamers to purchase affiliate status instead of earning it, combines both. Monster Cat outlines the new program in a post on his website today. If streamers subscribe to Monster Cat Gold for $5 per month, they now gain access not only to a library of songs they can play during their streams, but also Twitch affiliate status. Affiliate is Twitch's first monetization tier, which allows streamers to gain paid subscribers and bits, which are basically a donation currency. Before this year, the only way to become an affiliate was to unlock it by having at least 50 followers, 500 total minutes broadcast, and an average of 3 or more concurrent viewers and streaming on 7 different days. It makes sense for Twitch to partner with a label like Monster Cat, given its ongoing DMCA troubles, but this is yet another move that lets creators feeling slighted. While it's much easier to become an affiliate than it is to achieve Twitch's coveted partner status, which requires an average of 75 concurrent viewers, among other things, it's still something thousands and thousands of streamers have had to earn over the years. Guys, knowing that we worked so hard to get affiliate status, are you upset that we just didn't wait to benefit from good old Big Daddy capitalism's way by buying our way here?
I mean, not only I did this for my personal stream too, and I got to affiliate status, and it was something I was proud of, and to figure out that my work was worth $5,
right?
Like that was real shitty. After you do the work to have it summed up to be $5, is like, and it's much more than an hour's worth of work. So think of it like, we don't think $5 an hour is a decent amount to be paid per hour for a job,
right?
$5 for all the effort that you put into affiliate status. Yeah, I think this is an absolutely trash decision by Twitch.
Right.
It is a easy way to let people buy their way into affiliate status without putting in even the minimum amount of work. And to be honest, like, I do realize that affiliate status is not the hardest hurdle to get through. Having an average of 3 viewers is not the hardest thing to achieve. Yeah. Having an average of 50 followers is not the hardest thing to achieve. And it can be done within a month. It can be done within a week if you do it right. But it's
a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope. And it just takes away all the pride and accomplishment that anybody that is in on the affiliate level has from their status. So it's pretty awful. What do you think about this, Brahma?
Yeah, I was really proud of us getting to this, and even to think that after this kind of people start doing this and it goes into effect, it kind of dampens our title. It makes it like, oh, were you affiliate pre or post buying your status? And just,
right.
It like
we're gonna have to be like, we got affiliate status back when it meant something.
Yeah. When you had to earn it.
Yeah.
Uphill both ways.
Get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
I think, and obviously the outcry from fellow streamers within the community has been negative. I think no one really is excited about this. It's just, again, to me, it's not only it just undermines everyone that worked hard to get to affiliate status, but also the slope is slippery.
It is very slippery, very slippery. All All right, well, we are going to take a quick break, but before we do, we want to say thank you to almost so many followers. Oh my gosh, guys. Over this break, I think we got 10 gifted subs from Gonzo Gone Live, being super clutch. Jazzy Wonder, Super Payload 26, who also just followed us earlier today. And then the Greatest Pistachio is now a sub. Doomsdayer, Caperdoodle, of course. Jesse Sims is now sub. Don Pollock, Gus Guys 2, Elite Trooper 348, all you guys. Thank you. Welcome to the crew. Welcome to the Geek Life Live crew. We need a name for like our crew, like the Geek Squad or something. The Geek Gang. Welcome.
Put your ideas in the chat.
Put your ideas in the chat for what we
want to be called. What
do we want to be called? What do we call our followers and our subscribers? Lucifer Lab also followed us, and I think I said Super Payload 26, Elite Trooper 348 as well, and Fattest Sax also gifted a sub to Extreme Greatness. That was really, really nice. Whew, man, that was the most I've had to review from everybody. Yes, thank you so much. Super Blessos 26 hasn't been active on Twitch in almost a year, so I'm glad I jumped on to support y'all. Thank you so much. Caperdoodle sent you. Yes, thank you, Cape, for all the attention from our followers. We had a lot of feedback in chat. Looks like everybody kind of hated the Twitch stuff going on, which seems to make sense. And there was something about Gonzo wearing a Santa suit. Yes. If we can't get one stream with Drake dressed as some version of Santa, I will just cry a little bit. And Gonzo says he has a Santa outfit. The drunk Santa, homeless guy from Rick and Morty, where they built an Anatomy Park. Say less. So I think that it's written in the chat, and now it has been said out loud. So thank you guys so much for all the support. And yeah, if just a reminder, always follow us here on Twitch. You can follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We don't have enough subscribers. More followers on Twitter as well. You can follow us at geeklifelive. We're also on Facebook as well.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. Instagram too. That's the one I almost forgot. Instagram and Spotify. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. All right. And with that, we will kick it back out to a 10-minute break. Who's that Pokemon?
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Microgoose.
And we are back. And we are going into our deep dive now. So, since this show began, the world has been crippled by an ongoing pandemic. Everyone has had to make sacrifices, and social distancing has become the standard. As the 15-day quarantine turned into a year-long plus one, questions on how to get back to normal, or at least the new normal, remain. While entertainers are definitely not on the front lines of the pandemic, they are kind of like the orchestra in the Titanic, soothing us slowly as the pillars of democracy and faith in science slowly crumbles around us. So what does entertainment look like in the pandemic? How has the industry adjusted? What has been successful? What has failed? We're getting into all of that tonight in Entertainment in the World of COVID. All right. Let's start at the beginning. Back in March, Sonic the Hedgehog had just come out. Cyberpunk 2077 and Wonder Woman were just a few months from release. Black Widow was prepping for her first solo debut with the help of Taskmaster and Sheriff Jim Hopper. And Onward was set to make kids smile across the globe. The Batman and Jurassic Park were set to start filming. And then the COVID happened. Kev, what's going on with these properties now?
Yeah, well, Onward was released to Disney+. The film received generously positive reviews from critics and grossed $141 million worldwide. The films were a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. which led to widespread closures of movie theaters, like several other films released in earlier months of 2020. It was made available digitally several weeks after its theatrical opening. Cyberpunk 2020 has received multiple delays. We just talked about the new Wonder Woman movie coming out that's going to be simultaneously streamed to HBO Max. Black Widow is being delayed and is also in limbo whether or not they're going to release that straight to Disney Plus. The Batman has had COVID delays, plus actors, especially the Batman, getting COVID, causing major delays. Current filming for Jurassic World just wrapped up, but was burdened by a multitude of delays from the crew getting sick. The reality is that these properties and many more will continue to see delays, i.e. Stranger Things and The Witcher, etc. These would have been out by now or within the coming months, but we are far from that, and we don't know how much farther we have to go. Bron, what are your thoughts?
I think that we'll just both anticipate further delays and also different ways that we're going to be expected to see our content, which kind of might inform how that content is created, and especially these streaming services. Not seeing these huge blockbuster films of these massive crews and big orchestrated events. I feel like that's going to be dying down, and we're going to see different forms, smaller productions, maybe more indie things are going to be at the forefront, because you're not going to see a company investing like so much money into a film if they're not going to see the return. And I don't expect that we'll see that same type of return that we do at the box office. So
I mean, just looking at Onward, I mean, we talk about it grossing 141 million, which sounds like a lot, but when you look at stuff like Incredibles 2, it makes 1.2 billion. So, you know, that's a whole 3 digits higher than that, or, you know, 2 digits higher than that. But still, you know, the point is that it's exponentially higher, and Onward was going to be one of those big Disney staples. I mean, you have Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, you know, and kids don't know how shitty Chris Pratt is, you know. So
another topic.
Another topic. But that would have sold. That would have definitely been something that, you know, the stressed out mom takes her kids to let them relax, and probably would have made a ton more money than it did. But it went straight to on demand. So.
Yeah, and just to put it into perspective, that 141 million was how much they made, right? So imagine their budget was probably 175 to 200 million. So yeah, I
mean, like, the budget for Incredibles 2, just to give a comparison, was 200 million. So you know, that it probably did not make its money back. No. And it's going to be probably chalked up as a loss. And just because the pandemic happened. I mean, there's really, I watched Onward. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. There's no way this movie wouldn't have been successful if it hadn't been for the pandemic. And then, you know, a lot of the movie properties, Wonder Woman 84, Black Widow, all of them have seen delays. We've seen Wonder Woman now. We've got the release date for it. Black Widow is still in limbo. I don't think that Marvel's going to take the same risk that DC's going to take with that. But it's just been kind of a roller coaster with a lot of these properties, and as far as where they've been. But some properties have thrived during the pandemic, though. Animal Crossing, Among Us, Fall Guys, the rise of indie games in general, as we talked about earlier. And certain properties like Tiger King, The Mandalorian, and Lovecraft Country have thrived. Why do you think this is, Brahman?
So looking at something like The Mandalorian or Tiger King or things like that, one was created for Disney Plus and one was created for Netflix. Those things are designed to stream, so they're not expecting this big theatrical release, and they're meant to be bingeable. They're meant for you to be at home on your couch watching and diving into. So I think that really helped with the success of those. They were probably even more successful because people had more time to sit at home and watch them. Same with games. People have the chance to play these games that they wouldn't otherwise because they're trying to entertain themselves in a different way. I know we all still live really busy lives during the pandemic, so it's not to say that you're not doing anything, but you're spending more time at home, and the time that is your free time, you're trying to escape a bit. So I think these games help with that, and I think that's one reason why they've been really successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Kev, any thoughts on things that have thrived during the pandemic?
No, I think we touched on this earlier too. I think a lot more indie games have been coming to the forefront because there's just been so much need for more content on any sort of platform, whether it's a game, a television show, or a movie. So I just think that's going to sort of, that's opening up the market for others to sort of come in, because now we're consumers by nature. So it's like, whether it's TikTok, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on your laptop, your TV, whatever, you're just trying to consume any sort of content you can get. And I think content creators are going to capitalize on that.
Yeah. When you look at Among Us and Fall Guys in particular, Among Us, like it's a I think 2-year-old to 7-year-old game. I can't remember how old this game is. Yeah. This game is old.
It's like 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's it's a gimmicky game. Well, I mean, to some extent, but it's still a party game. But the reason it got so much of a spotlight was because there was people that are like, okay, I have time to sit down and play one of these games back to back and just go at it for hours with my friends.
Yeah.
And the setting for the pandemic really bode well for that. Same with Fall Guys in a different way, but it was because of the replayability of it. Oh, I can just replay this over and over again, and I got to get that crown kind of thing. And it was just that the same reason why casual games on people's phones really work really well is because they're easy to play, they're mindless. You can pick up the controller and you know what you're doing. So for two different reasons, both of those games I think were incredibly successful, and I think that's given a rise to the indie gamer in the pandemic, which has been a really cool thing to watch.
Right.
And I think there's aspects of them too, because people are craving that community space to be with, because you can't be around people. So that's why something like Among Us or Fall Guys, where you can get together with your friends. Animal Crossing, where people are like having weddings and funerals,
and that's a whole nother one, right? Like people actually doing live experiential things in these games. You know, like Animal Crossing, I think is a perfect example of that. People doing their graduations and funerals and stuff like that. Like that was another thing that, like, Animal Crossing would have been successful on its own without the pandemic, but with the pandemic, it just made all more opportunities for it. But it seems that overall games seem to be thriving, and the movie industry / live entertainment seem to be suffering the most. The death of movie theaters like Regal and AMC seem almost imminent. Is there anything that can be done to save them? And does their death mean that they're going to be gone forever?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, well, forever seems a little drastic, but I don't know. Blockbuster's gone, and so is a sort of a plethora of other things that we thought would be everlasting. Somehow Redbox is still here, so who knows? I'm just thinking they're going to have to be smart and convert to something else, like drive-ins. Maybe convert a lot of those massive parking lots and those theaters into sort of 5 to 10, if they can. I'm not a city planner or civil engineer, so I don't know, but to like massive drive-in movie lots, or like I mentioned before, AMC and Regal. Let's get on let's figure out how to do some sort of streaming platform that, instead of Blockbusters only, you can only see it in person in the theater, you can only see it via our streaming platforms when the movie's released. And I just think, this sort of post-COVID renaissance is going to be more independently produced IPs, whether it's games or TV shows or movies. I think a lot of people are just going to say, hey, you know what, there's opportunity for me to get my content and my ideas and my sort of the things that I want to make, and I can find some way to sort of finance it myself or independently through different donors or investors, and then push it out on YouTube or Netflix or whatever. And I think that's going to start happening a lot more too. Brian, do you think theaters are dead forever too? Or are you more optimistic than I am?
So I'm hoping they're not dead, especially because I also really enjoy live theater and opera and music events. So I'm hoping they're not completely dead. I think some things that the movie theater industry can do and has been doing to help survive is offering like private rentals for these theater spaces, which I think is pretty cool because then you could go with a group that you get together and be spread out amongst people that who are your friends. And I think that's a cool idea. I think that in chat earlier, someone was saying it's like $100 to rent a whole entire movie theater. So if you kind of divide the price of tickets, you can make that work depending on who goes with you.
Yeah.
I like the idea of drive-ins how fun and how cute is that to be able to just like curl up in the back and watching a movie and drinking some hot toddies out the thermos. Like that sounds like fun. But I don't think that they can monetize in the same way you would with the theater where there are like maybe 10 or more screening rooms within. You don't have the same type of space to be able to do that outside. Maybe you can have
and you have a lot less security of like people trying to scalp the movie and stuff like that.
That's true.
And people trying to record it. Like, I mean, you could even not even pay for a ticket and just be like up on a hill. Like, this is what I always think of. Like you're up on a hill, like in like an Iron Giant or something, and you're just like filming from a corner, you know. And like I don't know how you get the audio, but you know, you figure that out later, I guess.
But they were already struggling. That's the funny. Like movie theaters were already kind of struggling before the pandemic. So if anything, this was like slowly escalating, or this was slowly happening, and then COVID just escalated this to where it seemed like it was going to be inevitably.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I think that the movie theaters in Austin that were the most successful were the ones that delivered an experience, delivered, food, or had like special screenings with either actors. Like I remember they did for like Birds of Prey, they had like the Austin roller derby team come in because there's a roller derby scene in Birds of Prey. And doing like fun stuff like that is something that I think people will pay money for in, the modern era. And I think that, you talked about the post-COVID renaissance, and just to kind of explain what I think you're talking about, after the plague came the Renaissance, and after, there's a time period where we're all kind of built up inside, and we've kind of, we've learned a lot of stuff about each other, but also in the modern era, there's just the fact that like we will be able to produce a lot more stuff. Like we saw as soon as the Pfizer vaccine came out, and the Moderna news came out, boom, Disney's announcing, hey, we got Deadpool 3 on the way. Hey, Black Panther 2 is going to begin filming in Atlanta. We're propping out this property. We're doing this with that. We're making decisions on what we're doing with Wonder Woman. Because we know how long this is going to play out. And I think that once that case is kind of like that backlog of all the stuff that's ready to go, or has begun filming, or just waiting for theaters to be able to fill empty, is going to all come at once, and we're going to have this big like overwhelming flood of content. But we're also going to just want to go outside and go to the park and go to like ride a roller coaster or something else, like do other things that we haven't done in COVID. So I don't know how that whole period is going to be like, or if there is going to be a post-Renaissance or a post-COVID Renaissance kind of thing, and maybe just a pipe dream. But with that said, in that kind of like post-COVID Renaissance era, I can see theaters coming back that have never existed before. Maybe AMC does die, but then there's, a theater kind of like Alamo Drafthouse, or Alamo Drafthouse steps in AMC's place. And that becomes what theaters are, more experiential things,
I would like that.
I think that's a positive direction.
I just had this vision for like Hans Zimmer going on a concert tour, playing like Tenet on City to City. Just maybe that's how they go. They, instead of rolling it out nationwide to every theater, they just go city to city, and then they do like some.
It wouldn't hurt to add a roller derby crew in there, just for
Every movie should have
a roller derby crew. People are also producing more of their own content these days. Smile at the camera. And companies that profit off of content creation are doing just that too. They're changing their ways as well. What's changed recently for content creators, and are those changes welcomed?
I will take this one. I don't think that the change is welcome for the creators. Not so much, because a lot of these changes that are happening are more in favor of the platforms, such as YouTube's changed, their terms of services have changed, and it makes it so they can monetize off of your content when you can't. So not so welcome for the content creators themselves. Also, this new Twitch pay-to-play model is completely in favor of Twitch and the companies involved in that. As
it's certainly going to create more content creators, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
But it's also going to give... yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I just feel like I'm seeing more changes in terms of the platforms themselves kind of writing their services or changing their platforms in a way that is benefiting them more than people like us.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the YouTube service change, basically, they've changed it so that YouTube makes money off of any content that's there.
Yeah.
Any and all content. The Twitch new pay-to-play model, obviously, it's going to get them more content creators. It's going to get them more people that they can play ads on their channel without them having to actually put in the work to do it. And that means that they just want to make ads more immediately off of, the 3 or 4 friends of that first-time streamer that's just following them to watch them, just to get them started and get them to affiliate level and get them to where, it is cheapening the experience. But I feel like it's the capitalist machine at work trying to figure out how they can grind out the most money that they can. What about you, Kev?
Oh no, and what's even terrible, what we sort of like how they even started before they rolled this out was they relegated certain channels on YouTube that don't meet the current partner agreements. I had a channel that happened to. So if you were being able to be monetized back then, now you could be relegated to just the normal YouTube account, and they'll still run ads on your channel, and now you won't get paid for it. So it's pretty shitty. Like let's be real. I don't think it's pretty slimy and gross. It's just now I think they just feel like, and maybe they're just too big to fail, where they're going to have content creators regardless. And, if you want your stuff here on YouTube and chase that YouTube dream, go for it. But we're going to make money off of you in the meantime. But also too, let's not, I mean, there's most YouTubers make money also more so than just YouTube videos, right? They have like merch and other stuff too. So, but I just don't like how they set this all up with, we're going to change our entire agreement of what it means to be a partner. And then if you don't meet you're not being grandfathered in if you had already met the previous ones. And then now we're going to monetize your channel. Like, that's pretty slimy.
Yeah, no, I agree. Especially if they can still run ads on your channel, even if you've gotten to a point where you're not making money off of it, they're still going to make their dollar. Yep. And I think that's just really slimy. Shout out to our YouTube feed, which is live now. But anyways, it's been pretty rough for content creators. But despite these barriers, content creation is still on the rise. Yeah. People have flocked to content creation and generated content to fill the void between the lack of new content. And the content generated is more than just good memes. What else has this content creation rise given us?
Yeah, so TikTok is booming. That is where everyone is going. If you want to be an influencer or famous on the internet, there's still time for you in the TikTok world. Viral TikTok stars are trending upward. We actually have one here on the Geek Life crew. I'm looking at you, Jake. So it's still a platform that still hasn't been sort of oversaturated like the likes of Instagram or YouTube. Other content channels like Twitch, AOC streaming Among Us to get out the vote. Everyone's a Twitch streamer now, not just gamers. You're seeing cooking shows or just run-of-the-mill podcasts, talk shows, whatever. Twitch is doing that for the content creators who want to get those content out and want to get that content out there. And then Netflix. A lot of people are independent filmmakers are releasing things on Netflix. It's a lot easier to get your stuff on Netflix than I think people give credit for. And that's Netflix's motto has always kind of been, more content. We want to have more content than we know what to do with. That's why they came out with a quote saying their only competition has been sleep. which is apparently from data they analyzed pretty accurate. That's another story. Dodd, any new content creators or platforms you're currently hip to?
What's funny for me is like before we started streaming and stuff, I was into a bunch of different content creators, and now that I've started following them for a long time, I've started to see like their flaws. And there's some that I've unfollowed, and there's some that I'm proud that I've unfollowed. I'm not gonna name them on here because there's no need to like name drop and be like this person can do that kind of thing. But there are some streamers out there that I'm like, yeah, their stuff's crap. But you know, I any new ones in particular, Dogface I think is made this year for sure. It's just TikTok, you know.
CEO vibes.
He's brought back Cranberry Juice and Fleetwood Mac in one TikTok video. You know, I think that's really interesting, and I think it's been cool to see his rise and his whole kind of like, you know, he's been just a message of kind of like peace in a kind of trying time. So I think that's been interesting. You know, on the real, you know, with a lot of stuff that's been happening with protests and stuff going on within Austin, there's been a lot of people that have been covering those and watching their content as well. Has been really interesting during this time, especially because, you know, I have a immunocompromised partner. I can't go out, and I have to be cautious everywhere I do go out. But and being able to see what's happening in my own city has been really important. So I think that there has been, you know, with all things with the internet, I think that there is good and bad, and I think that I wouldn't say a net good, but there is good, you know?
Yeah.
So with all this pandemic craziness right at the end of the tunnel, both Pfizer and Moderna have come out with a vaccine that 9 out of 10 Pokemon professors deem is super effective. And with that, we have heard a slew of new announcements in the movie department. With the news of the new vaccine on the way, how does this change things for the entertainment and the world of COVID, Braun?
I think that it will change things, not right away, but maybe in like a year. I don't know. I don't want to give it any time. Down the road, because I know the first people to get these vaccines are going to be the first responders, the healthcare workers. I don't think that it's going to be publicly available for a little bit. And once it is, there's always a period of, even when things are fine, people are scared still, and they're not going to want to take any unnecessary risks. At least I'm hoping people will have that mentality. So yeah, well, change is happening, and that's really exciting. This is the first step, and it's a really important one. And even though it might not affect us right away, it is the direction that we want to go towards normalcy, towards being able to experience these events together and be the entertainment industry to thrive, the music industry to thrive, and us to enjoy. Yeah.
I'm still rooting for a post-COVID renaissance where we eat the rich and deport the racists. But fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Well, that will wrap it up for our deep dive. Entertainment in the world of COVID. But we have got a great top zen for you guys tonight. Back in July of this year, Ubisoft's veteran chief creative officer Serge Haskyot, I think I butchered his name, but it's okay. I don't care that much. He's kind of an asshole. And his influential editorial team repeatedly pushed back against plans to integrate prominent female leads into the Assassin's Creed games. These directives came from either Ubisoft's marketing department or Haskyot himself, both of whom have suggested that female protagonists wouldn't sell. To no one's surprise, Haskyot was already proven wrong by the legion of gamer girls out there, but also by his own sexual misconduct allegations. Nevertheless, we're not sure if this point has made it all the way across as we'd quite hoped. So this week's Top Zen, we're counting down the top 10 female protagonists in video games, and we're going to start right off with the legendary Miss Pac-Man at number 10. Tell us why Miss Pac-Man makes number 10 on our countdown, Kev.
Yeah, well, you can't have top 10 female video game icons without Miss Pac-Man, right? She's iconic just in video game characters in general. Miss Pac-Man is a 1982 maze arcade game developed by General Computer Corporation and is published in Midway. It's a sequel to Pac-Man and is the first entry in the series to not be made by Namco. But what makes Miss Pac-Man cool is that, not only is she a caring and loving mother and wife, but she still manages to keep us all safe from scary ghosts. She was created in an attempt to bring more women into video games, and is kind of thought as the first step in that direction amongst many people within the space. So, that's Miss Pac-Man. I mean, what more can I say?
The thing about it is that what people don't realize is most people, when they say they've played Pac-Man, they really played Miss Pac-Man.
Right.
It wasn't Pac-Man that they played. Miss Pac-Man is the common one that we see in all the arcades and everything else like that. That's the one that we know and love. Miss Pac-Man is cooler than regular Pac-Man. So,
it's
a better game.
Better game.
Yeah.
But not as cool as number 9 in our countdown. Number 9 is Jill Valentine from the Resident Evil series. Brahman, tell us why Jill Valentine makes number 9.
Well, Jill Valentine first appeared in the original Resident Evil installment in 1996. This game allows you to choose to play as either Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine, each player is offering their own special abilities. Valentine is a high-ranking special operations official of the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance. She's also a bomb expert who uses this unique skill set throughout the game. It really comes in handy, and you're able to get badass weapons with her, like the grenade launcher, because of her knowledge of bombs and all those sorts of tech. She uses her strength and wit to begin uncovering the atrocities of the Umbrella Corporation and fight to take them down. And she continues battling zombies well beyond the first game, coming up in Resident Evil 3, Umbrella Chronicles, and Resident Evil 5, just to name a few. Yeah. Jill Valentine.
Yeah. She's a legend. She's a legend.
She is. Honestly, she's like the main character I think of when someone mentions Resident Evil. As far as the protagonist, obviously, all the antagonists, the terrible guys they have there. But as far as the protagonist, Jill Valentine is someone that immediately pops in my head.
Yeah. She's been double tapping zombies since 1996, man. Like she's the real deal, and she was a hard female protagonist or a strong female protagonist. And it was great to see that, especially early on in the early 90s. That's something that was very, very much needed. But moving right along in our countdown, another person known for double tapping, probably triple tapping, quadruple tapping, probably tapping a couple more times after that. Sonya Blade comes in at number 8 in our countdown. Debuting in 1992, the very first Mortal Kombat game, Sonya Blade takes number 8 in the countdown slot with a brutal fatality. As one of Earthrealm's few fighters, Sonya Blade has a combat series, and unlike many of her co-workers, she's not simply an obvious sex symbol in the game. That's a big bonus. In a game of a lot of obvious sex symbols. I mean, seriously, who wears a bikini to the battle? Like, no shame in wearing a bikini, but it's just not practical for a fight. In Mortal Kombat, she's portrayed by the legendary UFC fighter Ronda Rousey. Quarantine to play some Mortal Kombat and has built quite a following. But what's really funny is that she actually, despite voicing Sonya Blade, she actually prefers playing as Cassie Cage. But yeah, Ronda Rousey making it at number 8 in our countdown. Sonya Blade making it at number 8 in our countdown.
Basically,
might as well be Ronda Rousey.
Same.
Ever play with Mortal Kombat? Play against little Sonya Blade?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Apparently, so I haven't played the new one, but apparently she is a problem in this one. I think a friend of mine, I think Sag, has streamed it a couple times, and there is just clips of him just screaming all types of expletives as he's getting thrashed by Sonya Blade. So
she doesn't play. She doesn't play.
Yeah, no, she does not.
No.
Fatalities are just brutal too. Not the brutalities. The brutalities are brutal, but the fatalities.
Oh yeah. For sure. Well, a little bit less brutal, a little bit more techie. Number 7 in our countdown is Cortana series. Tell us why Cortana makes number 7 in our countdown, Kev.
Yeah, it's time to weep some sad tears from our good old Xbox fanboys. A smart AI formerly in service with the United Nations Space Command, unique and exceptionally powerful even among smart AI, she was one of the most important figures in the Human Covenant War and served as John 117's partner in the final months of the conflict. Her flexibility and tactical skill provide invaluable in boosting the combat ability of the Halcyon-class light cruiser Pillar of Autumn, the orbital defense platform Cairo Station, and the stalwart class light frigate in amber clad. In addition, she held vital data pertaining to the Halo array, including the activation index from Installation 04. And she's basically the heart and engine that kept Master Chief going through all of the games and through all of the conflict. She's also your Windows AI.
It made it hard to find the right image for her when I was hunting down for those, like Cortana, not that Cortana.
Yeah. So, I know everyone in here is familiar with Cortana. I know she's got a soft spot in everyone's heart, right? Like you.
Oh yeah.
To me, I think juxtaposed like the hardened, stoic, never see the face of Master Chief. Like she kind of brought like that. I guess that needed.
She was the emotion. She was like the heart.
Yes. Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Did you ever get a chance to play any of the Halo games? Brahman, did you get to experience Cortana?
Yeah, I've played a few.
Yeah.
Not my favorite, but
Sony fangirl till you die. Well, this one should be great for you then. Number 6 on our countdown, Ellie from The Last of Us, the Sony exclusive, is number 6 on our countdown. Why does Ellie come in at number 6 on our countdown, Brahman?
All right, Ellie is the focal character, or one of the focal characters of the Last of Us franchise, which takes place 20 years after modern civilization has been destroyed due to a fungal outbreak. Ellie's immunity to the infection marks her as a valuable asset who you as the player, embodying Joel Miller, is tasked with escorting across post-apocalyptic America. One of the central focuses of the game is the relationship between Joel and Ellie, a very emotional storyline throughout this zombie apocalyptic massacre that you are going through. And even though you only get to play as Ellie occasionally in this first game, her impact on the game is really great. The strength and complexity of her character subverts this damsel in distress stereotype. She also plays a major role in The Last of Us Part 2, becoming the main playable character. And she takes major leaps for LGBTQ representation in video games as well, because there's not a lot of representation. And the kiss between her and her female love interest, Riley, was just groundbreaking in video game worlds.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot. I mean, you didn't get to play with her much in Last of Us Part 1, but Last of Us Part 2, I believe, she's like the main character that you play as. And the DLC for Last of Us, I believe you play as her as well. So there's tons where you do get to play as her, and she's been the focus. And watching her grow up as a character has been really, really interesting, in my opinion. Of course, also, got to get the gay points as well. Always love to see that. Shout out to my LGBTQ brothers. I mean, like Ellie is a fantastic character and definitely deserves a spot on this list. Kev?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a chance to play any of The Last of Us, but I'm quite familiar with, I guess, some of the lore. And from everything that I've read or heard about Ellie, like, I think the strength from her just, like, having to survive this, like, like, a post-apocalyptic zombie world, and then everything that she's dealing with just on just from a personal base. I think I don't know, it intrigues me enough to where I want to play this franchise because of her, right? Like I think, again, as we mentioned with Jill Valentine, she's like another one of the characters that pops in my head when someone mentions this franchise.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of controversy with her as well, I think. A lot, like, her character design was a lot designed off Ellen Page.
Mm-hmm.
And that for consent.
Yeah.
Well, like
Ellie,
she did,
Ellen
she did a lot of work with it originally in the beginning, and then left the project, and they kind of left the work in there. And she was like, "No, I left the project. That means you can't use my likeness," and that's how the whole conversation started, I believe.
Okay,
But
I was wondering about that.
yeah, it's a really interesting story, but you can see she kind of looks a little bit different in The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the reason why they're trying to make her look less like Ellen Page.
Right.
So interesting side story there. But if we're talking about gay points, we got to talk about number 5 in our countdown, Commander Shepard. Commander Shepard is the first time a protagonist could be either male or female, and it revolutionized the way we look at games. Femme Shepard was a very important step for equality. As one gamer puts it, as to why Femme Shep is so awesome, I think a large part of it is down to how she is written. Because aside from romances and smattering gender-specific lines across the trilogy, the truth is that there is no Femme Shep in the eyes of the writers. There's just Shepard, whose gender is interchangeable. 95% of the lines were said by Shepard were said by both genders. Additionally, NPCs mostly interacted with Commander Shepard, not male Shepard or female Shepard. And 95% of the time, the characters would behave and say the exact same things to Femme Shepard as they would male Shepard. So, Femme Shepard became an icon because she truly represented equality. And although it was kind of like a cutout, didn't do very much different than the male character, in the way that kind of ended up being a grounding thing that was really, really good for it. It also was a major milestone for LGBTQ representation, which is something that BioWare has been known for ever since they started sneaking lesbians into Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. But it was the first time queer characters were a normal part of the story for both, female and female characters, both male and male characters. And it wasn't just, sometime a time they were just a normal part of the story, and they weren't just some weird trope in there that was like, this is the weird gay fighter who fights with his gay stuff, and like it was a really, really groundbreaking step. So that's why Femme Shep makes number 5 in our countdown. Do you guys? You're a big Mass Effect fan, right, Kev?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm super thrilled that we threw that she's on this list. Like Femme Shep and male Shep, I guess, or just like
Shepard.
They're literally Shepard. They're literally you or whoever you want to be. And I think BioWare did a great job of that, just incorporating that in there, and then making it very inclusive, not just from the NPCs, but you as the protagonist as well. Even on their game, on the third one, a lot of people, I'm not sure, are aware of this, but you had the option of either just having your box cover be either Shepard, whatever one you wanted. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Brahma, did you ever get a chance to play Mass Effect at all, or?
No, I did not. I've seen some clips of gameplay and stuff like that, but I've never actually played it.
Yeah, but even without playing it, I feel like you can still understand like the importance of like Femme Shep and what she did.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anyways, moving right along in our countdown, number 4 is Zelda / Sheik. Tell us why Zelda and Sheik make the countdown.
I got this one, boys. Okay, first off, let's talk about how the entire game series is named after her, and she's not even the main character. Now that's badass. Like, you think Zelda, that's the first thing you think. And sometimes you have to correct people and let them know, that's Link, that's not Zelda. But
yeah.
No, she takes the whole series. She is a princess born into the royal family of Hyrule, but besides being a princess, she's also a literal goddess. Zelda is a reincarnation of the goddess Hylia, who is one of the 3 goddesses who made the entire universe. So that's pretty cool and badass as well. She possesses the Triforce of Wisdom, and her wise ways are apparent throughout the games. It always seems as if she knows a little bit more than Link, and that he's always just catching up. She's crafty too. Rather than hide in the shadows when she's being hunted by Ganon, she disguises herself so she can continue to protect Hyrule. This is where Sheik comes in. She cross-dresses as a man, her alter ego Sheik, a mysterious shrouded warrior of the Sheikah tribe, in order to maneuver around Hyrule when she's highly wanted and is able to come in and help Link throughout his journey. Also, playing Smash Bros, you're able to, while you're playing Zelda, switch between the two, which is so much fun. You get that cool little grappling hook thing. You get to just bam, pop out. Voila, you're Zelda again, throwing your little magic light spells. Yeah. She's best. Yeah.
Yes. And they really do feel like two different characters too. Like they move differently, they walk differently, they kind of act differently. Yeah. So
I think they made them two different characters in the current Smash.
Yeah, they did, because there was so many boys that were upset. I don't want to play that girl first, not realizing that it's the same character.
Well, it was that, but also she was really broken. Yeah, because you just literally had two characters that you could switch in and out from. Like, I think Sheik was more melee and up close, and then Zelda was long range. So you could, you
could really do a lot. You had a lot of mobility there.
Yeah.
But not quite as much mobility as number 3 in our countdown. The Tomb Raider. See that transition there? Oh, that was nice. Yes. Yeah. Tav, tell us why Tomb Raider makes number 3 in our countdown.
Yeah, probably one of my favorite video game characters of all time. Debuting in 1996 under original developer Core Design, Lara Croft, who is the Tomb Raider, has attained massive popularity and is considered by many to be among the most iconic, influential, and important video game characters of all time. Lara Croft is an English archaeologist, treasure hunter, and tomb raider. Born to an aristocratic family, Lara is generally disinterested in upper-class society, finding it stifling and boring. She takes far more interest in delving into the secrets of the past and finding what is believed to not exist. Lara's expeditions have led her to search for some of the most powerful and dangerous artifacts in the world, as well as uncovering some of the most mysterious places in Earth's history, and unfoiling secret plots by Cabal organizations to take over the world. Lara's exploits and are legendary, even garnering a reputation, though occasionally that reputation is less than flattering. Lara is often in a race against time with those who seek the same relics she does for nefarious intentions. Lara has thwarted many groups and individuals who are incredibly well-equipped or powerful, including crazed religious cults, mad scientists, and even gods. Lara will often lock up some of the most powerful relics in her manor in order to keep them out of anyone's hands but her own, and if the situation requires it, she may even destroy the artifact if need be. And all around, she's just a complete badass. And the last 3 games that came out have been fantastic. Small plug here, I recommend anyone playing who wants something new or hasn't played anything yet, pick up those new Tomb Raiders. Play all 3 of them. It's well worth your time. Yeah.
I had a friend actually give them to me, and I have not played through them yet, so maybe I might hit them up on stream.
Yeah, they're more on the realistic side of things. They're not, the sensationalized. She's doing cartwheels with 2 pistols, like the first Tomb Raider. It's on her way to becoming the Tomb Raider, so she's kind of naive and clumsy in a way. But you kind of progress through it. It's just really well written. I think even the cast or the writing actually won. I forget what it was. I think it was a SAG award.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Right. So the writing and the story in it is incredible too.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's real impressive.
Yeah.
All right. But we're getting down to the real impressive now, because we're getting down to the top 2. Number 2 in our countdown is Chun-Li from Street Fighter. Chun-Li was the first playable female video game character in a fighting game, a genre that was typically dominated by men with tigers as heads or sumo wrestling goblins. Until Chun-Li windmill kicked the glass ceiling to fans' delight. Known as the Kicking Beauty and the strongest woman in the world, Chun-Li made her debut in 1991 in Street Fighter II. She was chosen often since she was the fastest character in the game, and showed that the misogynistic game culture of the 90s exactly what the strongest woman in the world means. Because of her, I mean, to be honest, like, she was one of the pilots for female video game fighting characters. Right. And because of Chun-Li, now there will always be a female fighter in every video game, at least one, because of Chun-Li. And I think that's that reason alone is enough to put her at number 2 on the countdown. What do you think? Chun-Li making number 2 on the countdown. I think it's well deserved. What do you think, Brahman?
Yeah, definitely well deserved. A pioneer, and I know she was I would always choose her when I was playing the game. Glad to see some sort of representation. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
No, for sure. And she was a problem in Street Fighter too. I remember that was something my uncle would always tell me. It's like, if you're playing a fighting game, 9 times out of 10, the best characters are female.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And in this one, Chun-Li was the fastest, and those windmill kicks, man, you did not want to mess with that. Not at all.
No.
Not at all. Well, Chun-Li is a big contender for sure, but she's not as big as number 1 in our countdown. And number 1 in our countdown is Samus Aran. Why is Samus Aran number 1 in our countdown, Brahman?
Well, she's not only number 1 on our countdown, she's also the most bad. I guess that is number 1 on our countdown. Yeah, so she's number 1 on our countdown, and this is also, but this was also one of the most shocking moments in a game. So, you're playing Metroid series. You're this armored space bounty hunter with a freaking cannon as an arm, blasting aliens left and right until you finally destroy the mother brain. At that ending of this game, the final ending sequence, Samus removes the iconic orange space suit and reveals that she is a woman. This was such an impactful moment because leading up to this, if you're playing through this game in real time, this hasn't been revealed to you yet. Like, how shocking and how amazing is that moment to you? I know for me it was pretty groundbreaking. I had no idea that I was playing as a woman the whole game, and then you see that and it's just wow, like complete of the glass ceiling.
I think two things are big. One, she's the first female video game character of all time. Like 1986 makes her the first one ever. Which makes her iconic just in that dimension. But 2, what a way to break down the internalized misogyny of our culture. Because here's how they did that. You went through the entire game. You went through all of this epic battles, and like your quest for completing the game was finding out that Samus was a woman. And it was such a reveal at the time, but you still completed the game. Like, it's not like, you know, you had to go back to it after that. You just kind of left with it after that. And you're kind of like, huh. And that was such a revealing thing that the shock of it kind of passed the internalized misogyny that you would think would be there already. And so I think that it was a genius way in 1986 to really introduce that. And it paved the way, not just because she was the first to do so, but because she kind of did it in a way that really broke the glass ceiling, and really kind of started breaking into culture and getting female video game characters more integrated into the culture in general.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Samus, I don't think we would have had like Jill Valentine or Ashley, or like all these characters that came after that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, for sure. And she's long overdue for a new game too. Just saying, Nintendo.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. She for real is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to roll up in the little ball. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. I mean, like, give me a Nintendo game where I'm flying through space as a bounty hunter. I would eat that up. I'd be streaming it all day. Hit me up, Nintendo.
The one that came out on GameCube that was fucking phenomenal because it's like in first person. Just it was fantastic. Yeah.
Metroid Prime. That was a good one.
Yep.
That was a good one. Mwah. All right. Well, that about does it for our show today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Shout out to our follower, Awesome Ray, who followed us.
Ray.
Thank you so much. I think we have a Ice Adams. I don't know if I appreciated you yet for your subscription. I don't know if that was from the big gifted sub. Gonzo is now the top gifter in our crew. Which
really
is
warming up for that Santa Claus bit.
Yeah, he is really warming up for that Santa Claus bit for sure. Yeah, if you guys like anything you see or heard on the show tonight, feel free to follow us here on Twitch, follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the places. If you've already followed us, the best way you can do to support us, take some clips from our show, share them around, show your friends, tell us about the show. We'd love to get a bigger audience. We'd love to let them know, leave some reviews, all that good stuff. If you guys want to follow any of us on our personal socials, you can follow me at Rusebane, WRUSE_BANE on Twitter and Twitch. Kev, where can they find you?
Totally Awesome on Twitch and Kevin Todd Jr. everywhere else.
And Braun, where can they find you?
You can find me at Space Nymph, space like outer space, nymph like mythical magical creature.
I like the gestures that went with that. That was so much better than trying to find which side the tag's on.
Right, yeah, that's the way to do it now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm on Instagram and I'm always posting fun things. So follow me also on Twitch, where once I get all set up, I'll be streaming Breath of the Wild. Big
shout out to our moderators. Who do we have? Gonzo, moderating the chat, keeping us live, and I believe Little Snelly is still a moderator in there. Shout out, as always, to our video producer, Cape, and all of our followers for your support. We can't do it without you guys, and you guys make it worth our while. We'll be back same time, same place next week for more of the nerdy news you need to know. Until then, peace.
Thanks, guys.